Nothing says her vision like copy and paste from the boss.
Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics is working.
And we have a process in place to manage migrants at the border. We're working to make sure it's safe and orderly and humane.
Our administration is simultaneously working to ensure a safe, orderly, and humane processing system at the border.
We'll not conduct a hasty rush to the exit. We'll do it responsibly, deliberately, and safely.
On the issue of Afghanistan. And to that end, we have seen a successful drawdown of the embassy.
What is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't.
And what's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
I honestly can't believe that this actually happened. Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, same room on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, I would like to see Kamala Harris try to replicate this because, just like Kamala Harris is Joe Biden, she's also Donald Trump, just depending on the day. She identifies as whatever is convenient at the time. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually listen to the 3-hour podcast. I'm out here traveling, with another YouTube homie. At another YouTube homie's wedding. I came out here to, support him and do all that. But we're not going to be looking at these clips in synchronized order. They will be out of place. But Joe Rogan was describing his first time shaking Trump's hand as the funniest thing ever to him. He said Rogan survived Trump's iconic power pull the first time, but Trump didn't make the same mistake twice. Let's check it out.
I shook his hand. I'm like, oh, I know he's about to do. So I anchored myself. I'm like, not today, son.
Strength.
Not today. Would you give me a nice pull? And I'm like, but we're hanging out for a while. So then the next time I met him, he was at a UFC as well.
Did he try to pull?
Dude, I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
I'm sitting down and he looks at me and he goes like this and he gets up, starts walking towards me. And I get up and I reach over with my hand and he gets and I'm over a table. I'm over a table. Really? He got me. He got me good. He got me good. He got me good. I'm like, this motherfucker learns from his mistakes.
You know what? Trump does seem like the type of person that remembers something like that. As the leader, somebody who was the leader of the free world, you got to let him know. You got to let him know. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But shout out to Joe Rogan for at least trying to prepare. Can I bring the seat down just a little bit? Is it possible? Hold on, y'all. Let me see. I don't know. I don't think it's possible. Anyhow, let's actually get to some of the interview. Joe Rogan, Charlie Kirk actually posted this clip. He said, the rebels are Republicans now. If you want to be a rebel, you want to be punk rock, you want to buck the system, you're a conservative now. And the liberals are pro-silencing criticism. Let's check this out.
The rebels are Republicans now. They're like, you want to be a rebel, you want to be punk rock, you want to buck the system, you're a conservative now. That's how crazy. And then the liberals are now pro silencing criticism. They're pro censorship online. They're talking about regulating free speech and they're regulating the First Amendment. It's bananas to watch.
Joe, they come after their political opponent.
Well,
I got more guys. I always say, I kid, but I'm not kidding. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the meanest of them all. He'd kill you in 2 seconds if he didn't like you, right? I've been under investigation more than Alphonse Capone, only because it's political opponent stuff. And I've won. I won the big case in Florida. I'm winning the other stuff. You win, but you know what they did? They did something that's only done in third world countries. They came after their political opponent.
Yes.
I could have put crooked Hillary in jail.
Well, not only that, but they're weaponizing it by saying that that's what you're going to do once you get in office.
Isn't it
great? By ignoring what they're doing right now.
That's the part that's just baffling to me. Oh my gosh, the double standard, the hypocrisy. I told you, Kamala, she identifies as whatever is convenient. And on top of that, she's going to identify as the person who's not trying to weaponize the justice system in order to go after Donald Trump while maintaining a point the finger stance with Biden by going, oh, they're the one that's actually trying to do this and do that, which is weird. I don't see how these people can actually get away with that. Like, dog. It's the next level of con artist stuff. Manipulation is through the roof. And if you are somebody on the left and you don't care about actually in depth of what's going on, and you get these sound bites, I'll stick to them sound bites too. Now, Donald Trump can't seem to figure out why left-wing media started to come after him and started to, indulge into, into making him look like the enemy of the country. But Joe Rogan has a pretty clear explanation as to why.
So I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe.
You said a lot of wild shit, and then CNN, in all their brilliance, by highlighting your wild shit, made you much more popular.
Yeah.
And they boosted you in the polls because people were tired of someone talking in this bullshit, pre-prepared politician lingo. And even if they didn't agree with you, they at least knew whoever that guy is, that's him. That's really him.
Yeah.
When you see certain people talk, certain people in the public eye, you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. It's very difficult to know. You see them in conversations. They have these pre-planned answers. They say everything. It's very rehearsed. You never get to the meat of it.
Kamala.
One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like you get out and you do these huge events and you're just talking and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff. But it's like you and you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, you'd be in jail. Like that's great timing. But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had
Mind you, she could have been in jail, but he chose not to. But they're trying to make it seem like otherwise.
done that. And I think
It's funny. You need.
What? Now, I'm in total agreement with Joe Rogan when he says that Donald Trump is a comedian, man. He definitely has comedic instincts, and this guy's definitely had me dying laughing. Well, no pun intended. Had me live laughing, hysterically multiple times of watching him on any platform that he's on. Mind you, he's 78, still out here doing his thing. You got Kamala Harris trying to form this whole new he won't even show up to this and that, he's old and he's too exhausted, yada yada, which is really not the case. That man has more energy than me. I'm just keeping it real. Let's read a few of these comments. There are way more people watching than attending the Beyonce concert I'm watching now. Joe is a wizard and master of his craft. He keeps Trump on topic, and Trump literally just seems normal and smart. I was a never Trumper. I'm now a only Trumper. Ooh, okay. Times have changed, mind you. Beyonce was at the Kamala Harris rally, and for those who know, that was a real heartbreaking moment for me. That was really heartbreaking. Started back when she was with Destiny Child. I was in middle school, and the Bootlegend video came on, and it was it. And then she got she over there with Kamala. Sorry, Beyonce, but we got to end this. I'm sorry, you joined the other side. It's God's side, and you on the other side. I can't even do. Anyhow, amazing watching Trump from the Netherlands. I'll read a few more comments before we get to the next clip. It says, it was great. They still watching it. I'm so glad y'all did this. I really kind of wish Kamala would have agreed to it. Imagine that episode. Oh, yeah, Joe Rogan would have grilled her. I'm pretty sure. Imagine Joe Rogan and, yeah. Anyhow, Trump and Rogan talked about the MAGA alliance, MAGA alliance, and teaming up with Robert Kennedy. Trump confirms that Kennedy will 100% be a part of his administration, noting that while they disagree on fossil fuels, they both want to end the poisoning of America. And remember, RFK, he did leave the Democratic Party last year. Woo woo.
First of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this Make America Healthy Again idea, because there are chemicals and ingredients in our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary. And there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things. And
I brought this chart for you.
Beautiful.
Because I had a feeling you'd be asking me.
Thank you.
Look at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr. Look
so
at that.
This is, something along the – I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I could see it.
That's
crazy. A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA.
Wow,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Jamie's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best.
But look at that. Look
at
where
the USA
is.
It's not good. And that's our
that
food.
money.
That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I
think
love
he's
the
great.
fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you
combination.
completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am. But the only thing I want to be a little careful about with him is the environmental. Because, he doesn't like oil. I love oil and gas. I think
Just
it's
keep him out of that.
to fire. So I'm going to sort of keep him out of a little. I said, focus on health. Focus. You can do whatever you want. But I got to be a little bit careful with the liquid gold,
I understand. But listen, there's plenty of good work that could be done if you focus on health.
Here's the one that my all-time favorite, though.
What is that?
See the arrow right here? That's one I left.
Do
The
you
day I
have
left.
anyone that is pressuring you to not work with him? Have there been
To
people
not
that
work
are
with
reaching
who? To not-
RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine. Because
I would
financially,
say,
he could put a dent.
I would say that, and I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the Big Pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that, I have a relation. I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is, he thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff, and then you end up with that chart is a terrible chart, the one previous. It's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, and you save a lot of money. But, yeah, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled. You can imagine, right?
Sure.
It's a good question, actually.
Well, certainly if there
it doesn't affect me.
Some pharmaceutical drugs that have been prescribed that have negative consequences that these people have been profiting off of. And then you have a guy like RFK Jr. who spends an enormous amount of time highlighting those things. You could say how they've been very reluctant to have you support him.
I would say that's an understatement.
Everybody knows that this year has been a year where Democrats have been jumping ship. In highlight of, ironically, them weaponizing the DOJ in order to go after Donald Trump, which is surprising for them to try to use this same tactic. Anyhow, we know that Elon Musk is a supporter of Donald Trump. He endorsed him. Even before I get into that, I want to say that this man, Donald Trump, doesn't sleep. I believe he did that 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan and immediately followed that up with a press conference, or a rally or something like that in Michigan. Man, that was crazy. But Trump he's Trump. He's not gonna ask. He's not gonna leave there without knowing if Joe Rogan is rocking with him or not. Trump asked Joe Rogan to follow Elon Musk's example and endorse him midway through the podcast episode. Quote, "You should do the same thing, Joe, because you cannot be voting for Kamala," end quote. "Ask you shall receive," be as he tweets wrote. Trump is asking on behalf of all reasonable Americans. Joe Rogan should definitely do it. He knows Kamala will do wicked things to our country. Totally agree.
And one of the guys in North Carolina said, "Could you do me a favor? Do you know Elon Musk?" Yes. He endorsed me. By the way, he gave me the nicest endorsement, too. The tough. He said, "The country's going to fail. You should do the same thing, Joe, because you cannot be voting for Kamala." Kamala, you're not a Kamala person. I know you. I've watched you. I know him better than he is. You know what? Without speaking to you, I think I know you maybe almost as well as your wife. I have watched you for so many years. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person. Nobody's going to know who Khabib is, but
they know who
he
Khabib
was.
is.
He was not bad, right? That guy.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
And one of the guys in North.
I'll just say this, man. Come on, Joe Rogan. Somebody said Rogan endorsing Trump would be a game changer. Most definitely. He's the voice for the everyday American, and he knows what's at stake. Kamala's agenda isn't what's good. What this country needs. Time for some real honest support. Someone else says, "I don't care if he endorses Trump or not. I don't make my selections based off who endorses him." That's true. And he can endorse Kamala for all I care, but Trump still always has my vote. We do need people out here like that who can put their bias and common sense aside to be like, hey, I'm gonna give people. I'm gonna let people have the option to say no to Kamala. How about that? Versus just no Kamala, right? Vote Trump for saving Elon from the machine for sure, because they definitely going to be going after this platform and free speech. Heavy. Heavy. No excuse for Joe not to do it. Not sure if it means much, but still should do it. Yeah. Trump acts in a way that was no way Rogan can endorse Kamala Harris stuff, if you ask me. And Rogan laughed. So me, that's an endorsement. Now, this podcast was over 3 hours long. These are some of the clips that arose on the internet that were buzzing. I'll definitely be looking around to see if there's any more, and I will follow you guys with an update. But as of right now, man, I'm finna go myself and listen to this whole thing in full. Oh, found this clip, and I think it's a very important clip to show. They was actually talking about voter ID and how stupid it is for people to sit here and try to make an argument saying that voter ID is somehow a setback for people to be able to vote. It don't make sense to me either, but let's check it out.
That certainly is a problem. Mail-in ballots are a problem.
But every
Another
other country,
problem
you know,
is
other
voter
countries,
ID.
Yeah, a voter ID.
Voter ID is the most bizarre argument that
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody articulate in a way that's convincing.
Because
why
they
you
wanna
don't
cheat.
need voter. Well, it doesn't make sense any other way. I've tried to straw man it, or I've tried to steel man it rather. I've tried to like look at it from a position like, why would you not want people to have ID? And a lot of the ideas are
Cheat.
just ridiculous. You
Gavin
need an
Newsom.
ID to get a driver's license.
Okay, but here's now the next step. Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in the world.
Newsom.
And I used to get along, but I don't get along with him now because he's just too, it's just a whole con job. But Gavin Newsom, the other day signed a bill that you are not allowed to ask a person, even ask them whether or not they have voter ID.
Now, what could be
If
a
you
charitable reason why anybody
Because they
would
wanna
want
cheat.
that? But
Because
that
they
would be
wanna
the
cheat.
only thing that makes sense.
But that's taking it to the next level.
right.
Now, you have ID. The Democrat National Convention, when they had it the last time, I saw, they had a sign like a billboard on the name of the person, where they live, how they live, who the hell their boyfriends are. Every single, it was, and a big picture. That's for they have an ID, a big ID. It was hanging like you were a prisoner. They had these massive cards, everything. And yet when it comes to the vote, in theory, the most important thing we do, okay, when you go to a grocery store, you give ID. But for a vote, it's supposed to be a sacred thing, and it should be a sacred thing. No voter ID because they want to cheat.
I'm trying to figure out. Oh yeah, if you do go to a grocery store, if you try to purchase like some beer and liquor. At first I was like, Trump, I rock with Trump. I'm like, what? We got to use ID at the grocery store? Then I think, oh yeah, if I go to Walmart and I try to give me a 6-pack of Brill or something like that, yeah, for sure.
Well, it doesn't make sense in any other way. I've tried to look at
There's
it.
no other way.
There's no argument that anybody's presented that makes any sense why.
You know the funny thing, Joe? The Democrats, the people, they all think you should have it. In other words, you should have
Yeah.
voting. If you go to the people, Mrs. Schwartz, Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Jones,
Sure.
they say, of course, yeah. Democrats, they say yes. It's the politicians that don't want it, like Schumer and these guys, they don't want it because they want to be able to cheat. Because you know what? If they didn't have it, okay, who is going to vote for somebody that wants open borders? Who's going to vote for somebody that wants to have men playing in women's sports? I have never had one person come up to me and say, President, you got to do something to allow men to play in women's sports.
Right.
Have you ever? Just like I've never been called by a pollster. I told you my little theory on pollsters, okay? I'm getting myself in trouble with some of these things, but I don't really care. Nobody's ever come up to me and said, we want to have men playing women's sports.
I'll say this. Dems are good at two things, and I don't want to repeat the second thing after, Trump. But I'll say one is lying and the other one rhymes with leeting, okay? Don Wick said, why are there no voter ID laws in place? Why do you need an ID for it? Let's compare laugh. Oh, I don't know what this is for. Don Wick, you sound like you're just trying to start some BS, man. Cheating, can't even say nothing else after that because I said the word, wow, how did I fumble that like that so hard, y'all? I can't walk into any country on the planet and demand to vote in their election. It's not my right. Amen to that. It's crazy that we even have to discuss this. I know, right? Democrats, why? No, seriously, why do we even have to discuss that, Democrats? Make it make sense, please. Joe Rogan, Trump, oh man, I'm so happy. I'm about to listen to this thing all the way through, y'all. Woo woo.